how do I lead change and promote change without losing the human touch? It's a good question. But the most important element is human in here. The business I'm in is people business. The value of what we provide to our clients, of course, is the capital behind the insurance company or the entity, but the product themselves. But those products are nothing without the people that are there to create them, to promote them, to manage them, and to make sure everything is running. We talk about AI, we talk about data, we talk about all the information that we receive, and sometimes paperwork or efficiency. But at the end of the day, all those elements, they are driven by the people, by the brain power of the team that's behind the scene. And these companies that I've been leading, I was part of, or small part sometimes, big part sometimes, they all have this in common, that the people inside are the ones responsible for the positiveness of the outcome for the client and the experience for the client. So it's always about working together and delivering something which is positive. It's not about having 1 star or 2 stars or 3 stars. It's about having the ability to bring the people working together in a way which is optimal, which seems seamless and simple for the client, and that has this emotional creation involved. What I'm getting at is, for a team to work well together, we don't have to like each other, but we have to be able to have an open space, a trust space, so that we can say what works, what doesn't work, without being conflictual. It can lead to conflict. It can lead to solution is better. Usually it leads to conflict, then we build, and then we have the solution. But there has to be a certain level of trust between the people, so that we can build that solution. Or we need trust that the person above in the value chain will have done his job, so that the next person will have the ability to perform correctly without being in fear of mistakes or that something's missing. And therefore that creates efficiency, and therefore it creates a better experience to the client. The other element of trust here is that, especially in insurance, what is the basis of insurance? Simply trust. Without trust, why would anyone in their own mind give money to somebody else in the hope that somebody will be there next year or the year after or the year after to give money back in case there is a problem? It could be a problem with the car, it could be a problem with health, it could be the pension. So there has to be a very, very strong element of trust, but that there is in the relationship between a client, the distributor, the insurer, and whoever part of that offering is, that there is sufficient trust that the delivery will happen at the time when the need is there. So the human element here is so important. The emotional element linked to trust is so important that it has to be inground into the business. In case of change, of course, the emotions are exacerbated. It's very clear that humans are always afraid of change. It's very nice to wake up in the morning and think, there's some level of certainty in everything which is going to happen today. Some individual like change, but to a certain level. Some more, some less. I guess everybody, when speaking theoretically, is speaking about being willing to change things. But at the time where the concrete change happens, the fear is so strong that there is resistance. So from my perspective, we cannot change and transform and promote improvement into a company or into an ecosystem or into a larger part of the value chain or partnerships or client base without having a human touch in mind when it's happening. First, if you change something for the client, then we need to be sure that it creates a positive outcome. We don't change something to upset the client, otherwise clients will go away. So if you change something, you need to be able to understand what the client wants and have tested it so that the outcome of the change will have a positive impact on the client side. And usually that's pretty much human and emotional based. When there is a change inside the company, going through a merger, for instance, when it happened, I was well placed because I moved from company to company in the past, and I connected to the employees of the company I was leading and the company which we acquired with my experience in the past, having had to move from one place to the place, not on my decision, but because the shareholder decided to make change in the structure of the group. So these changes happened. And at the time, I remember that my mentor, which was very far away, was in Rotterdam and I was in Luxembourg. He said, Francois, the only thing that you need to be sure of, it will be okay. That's what he said. He didn't care about the change, telling me you're going to get a carrot. So, it's just like, forget about all the fear that you have. It will be okay. Simply, it's a difficult moment in time, and be open, accept it, and then try to see and work towards the better outcome. And the more you take in your own hands, the better it is for the future. And that's how I try to rally the teams together by creating this it will be okay moment for a positive integration. Was everything perfect? It's certainly not. I was speaking at a conference in Prague a couple of years ago where I just gave the feedback on what worked and didn't work on a merger, and of course it's never perfect, and it was far from it. It's always about iteration. It's always about creating a next step. That didn't work. What can I do to improve? Going back home every day thinking, was I right? Was I wrong? Or how can I improve? That was something I had a lot. Not always be sure of everything. Of course, we have to be sure about the goal, but the steps in between, sometimes they need to be adapted because things are changing, situation change. Therefore, adaptation is not an option. It's required simply because the plan decided at the beginning will not work anymore due to circumstances. And therefore, those elements, if you decide on your own, it's not going to work. What is key is that to link with people. Can you link with everyone? Yes, you can. You can create moments where you link with everyone, like town halls and exchange, or by creating split into the teams so that they can start working together without yourself involved. Otherwise, it's too overwhelming. But the human element is the thing you need to start thinking first before implementing the change. And involving and creating the space for the team to decide is critical there. The impact, the more a team has an impact on their own change, the better the outcome and the faster the outcome will be.